so pretty, 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 pretty.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. As of the day recording this, it is April 30th, so I thought it'd be really fun to do a little April reading recap, where I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the books I read, what I thought about them, the ratings, if I think you should read them, and hopefully by the end of the video, you find a book that you can add to your TBR. I'm going to say ahead of time, ignore my little laptop here. It has a lot of notes of things that I want to say about these books, because there's so much from like plot synopsis and just all my thoughts and feelings about them. The first book I read this month was Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. Firstly, this is just a gorgeous Owl Crate edition. I love it so much. This one was a reread because I'm doing this little challenge where I'm reading or rereading all my Owl Crate books and kind of documenting my thoughts on them and trying to actually remember that I've read them, because sometimes I read it and then I look back at it like 2 months later, I'm like, did I read that one? So this is my little challenge for myself, and I chose this one out of the TBR top hat. For the plot, this book is about a girl named Evelyn who has been reincarnated for centuries. However, she has never lived past her 18th birthday because her counterpart or companion, Arden, always kills her. He never quite tells her why though, even after countless lives of living and loving and hating each other. All she wants to know is why they have these infinite lives and why she must be brutally torn away from each and every one of them. And let me just say, this book, it had some great representation because they're reincarnated in so many different lives and so many different places. It is suspenseful because you're like, why does he keep killing her? Explain that, explain it to me, like you're learning it. The characters are actually all really likable, which sometimes can be really hard, but they all have a motivation behind everything that you kind of get to piece together and learn. And while it's not like,
I'm the good guy,
it is, you have this feeling of, I understand you. Also, Evelyn is just so dear to me because she hopes and hopes despite all the odds and everything, being like, oh, you have a sad life. I will say, the first time I read this book, I was not a fan of the ending. I really liked it up until the ending because it kind of came out of nowhere the first time I read it, and I was like, what in the world? But I think this just proves that sometimes a reread of a book is necessary and okay to do, because the second time around, I had kind of forgotten what exactly the ending was, but I was seeing little hints and pieces and I was slowly starting to remember, so I could really see where the ending came from. Said, I'm not sure if I'm completely in love with the ending yet. The rest of the book was amazing because I really loved the emotions that this book made me feel. Overall, I gave it 4 stars and I would definitely recommend it to you. The camera angle change, I needed to lower it just a little bit and I did not realize. Now, after my raving review of Our Infinite Fates, this one's gonna seem a little more lackluster. The second book I read this month was The Gravewood by Kelly Andrew, and this book is about Shea Parker, a deaf girl living in a sort of post-apocalyptic world. After this thing called the Rot has infected the Gravewood, because of her parents' inability to care for her for various different reasons, Shea turns to the vampire or devil of the Gravewood and agrees to kind of let him feed on her in return for hearing aid batteries. Then there's this whole thing about him turning her, and then he goes back and he doesn't want to do that, but never really explains why, other than like, she's too good. Girl, okay. It's dual POV, but I really never felt like Lysander, who's the vampire, it's never been his story, so I honestly could have done without his point of view the whole time, and I feel like it was thrown in there so that way the reader would like his character, but it really didn't help that much. There's also this really weird moment where the love triangle that Shea is in turns into a throuple, which is not the bad thing in and of itself. It's the fact that it just kind of randomly had this moment of, is this a throuple? And then like it disappeared and it was never mentioned again. So I needed a clearer reasoning behind the throuple and if it was meant to be like that. I will go ahead and say I could be a little bit biased because I'm just overall not a very big fan of vampire romance. Typically pretty cringy and cliche, and it's just rarely done right. I can tell that Andrew tried to do something different with the Rot and the Gravewood, but it clearly just wasn't fleshed out enough or made enough sense. Because of that, I did give the book a 2 stars, and I probably won't suggest it to you even if you like vampire romance. There is a sequel coming out, and I also don't think I will be reading that one. Okay, I don't have a physical copy of the next book because I read it on my Kindle, but I am so excited to talk to you about The Sun and the Star Maker by Rachel Griffith. I just really needed a lighthearted, magical little read after reading The Gravewood, and this one did not disappoint. Basically, there's this village that is completely encased by these mountains that are so tall the sun can't reach it. In their lore, the sun loved the village so much she came down from her perch in the sky and saved the village that she loved, and she eventually fell in love with a mortal man. However, she couldn't shirk her duty to the rest of the world forever, and she had to go back in the sky, but she didn't leave the village defenseless. She made the man she loved the first star maker, and it gave him the power to kind of reign in the sun and the light and live for centuries. But as he neared death, a predecessor would be chosen by magic or destiny or by the sun herself. At this point in the book, they're on the fourth star maker, and Aurora, I can't say the name, I do apologize, there's a lot of R's. Our heroine is found to be this Star Maker's predecessor. And as her rocky relationship with the current Star Maker grows and changes, she fears having to let him and the rest of the people she loves die while she lives for centuries. Oh my gosh, this read was so cute! It was everything I wanted. It was light, but it still had emotions, and the characters had some great character development and just great relationships with each other. The love story also pulled at my heartstrings, and I had a few giggly moments, and there was a moment I was so scared in the story because I was like, no, they need to be happy. Thank you very much. And all in all, I just really enjoyed it, so I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Please go read it because we need more whimsical, fun, lighthearted fantasy in this world. I'm going to talk about The Last Blood Carver and His Mortal Demise together because they are a series. Nika is our main character here, and she's what she thinks is the last blood carver to survive the brutal takeover of her family's home island, Yerong, which was taken by neighboring country Daltony. She was born and raised in Tumis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, so the spelling will be somewhere. They're a technocratic nation that focuses on innovation and science and very physical things. She never really felt she belonged in Tumis, partially because of her loneliness by losing her family, and partially because Tumans hate her kind and fear the power that she could possess, even though it's really like myth that blood carvers still exist. And one day she's taken by these butchers who plan to sell her off to the highest bidder, who probably plan to eat her, but she ends up in the possessions of the Cogmes, one of the wealthiest and most influential families in central Tumis, and even meets a mysterious stranger in Cochin, discovering that they have more in common than she ever thought they could have. And she's wrapped up in these plots of kind of a murder mystery and being a detective, and yeah, it's very cool. I know, that was a long plot overview. But a lot happens in these books. They're very fast-paced, they keep you very engaged, and the magic of heart soothing is so interesting. Like, I love it so much. It takes a more scientific look at magic than a quick little, oh, boop, you're healed now. But no, it's an actual art form, an actual training, an actual science, where Nika kind of goes into someone's bloodstream or anatomy, and she heals it using carbohydrates and proteins and all that fancy sciencey stuff. And the love story may not be my favorite, but there was some rivals to lovers, and that does speak to my heart. I rated The Last Blood Carver 4.5 out of 5 stars, and His Mortal Demise I gave 4 out of 5 stars just because I liked the first book a little bit more than I liked the sequel. I was recommended to read All of Us Villains by a viewer over on my TikTok. Go follow me over there. They certainly did not disappoint. The plot was very Hunger Games, and it was a multi-POV book with 4 different POVs. I'm not going to give too much of a plot synopsis on this one because I don't really know if I can explain it the best. 7 kids are put in an arena and fight to the death with magic-infused rings for high magic for their families, because high magic is this really big thing that's kind of extinct in the rest of the world, but this curse that they're under that they have to fight to the death for it is what survives it, and then the winning family gets the high magic until the next tournament, like 20 years later, I think. These kids are kind of funky though because they all have issues and some of them don't even really want to fight. You're gonna be like, okay, you must have not liked this book because you summed it up so bad. No. I really liked it. It drew me in with all the deep and complexly interesting different characters. And the 3 characters I really liked were all different, and they all had something to kind of bond over. There was one POV I didn't like, which was Gavin Greaves, just because he felt like more of an afterthought. I didn't think he mattered that much to the plot, and I don't know, I just didn't like him. The other 3 point of views, I ate up. But there's pain and joy and different little love stories that I really liked, and the friendships formed and broken all really spoke to me. I just ate it up so much that I can hardly even remember what there was to talk about. So go read the synopsis, please, and go pick it up, because I'm really excited to read the sequel, and I don't want my bad overview to put you off of reading the book, because I did give it 5 stars. Okay, quite frankly, this is going to come as a very big shock, because All of Us Villains was written by Amanda Foody and C.L. Herman. And the next book I read this month was also written by Amanda Foody and C.L. Herman. I did pull this one out of my TBR top hat, and I was so shocked because I was like, I just read their book. That's so crazy. What an interesting turn of fate. A Face So Cold is a dual POV book of Dominic, who's basically Summer's chosen one, and Ellery, who's Winter's chosen one. They have to come together to beat back this winter storm that will destroy everyone they know and fall in love in the process. Then they learn their fate was different and they aren't meant to help each other, they're meant to kill each other. By the way, none of that was spoilers. It's literally in the plot synopsis. Expecting the writing to be so exquisite that even knowing it has an unhappy ending, I'm hoping for the characters and rooting for them. Think something like Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This one did not do that for me. It felt very forced. The romance was okay, but I was more rooting for her to get back with her ex instead of this summer guy. And I also thought the authors were going to chicken out in the end because they literally almost did. And then they didn't. And I was like, okay, I'm proud of them. At least they kept to this whole tragedy thing. And then the epilogue came around and they did chicken out. So overall, kind of disappointed. It was also way too long. In my opinion, they could have cut out like 100 pages and the story could have basically been the same. I did give it a 2.5 stars because I kind of enjoyed it. It was just way too long. So if you're going to read a book by Amanda Foody and C.L. Herman, please go read all of his villains and maybe skip this one. I had a surprisingly big month for reading. I mean, I know 7 books doesn't sound like much until you actually read them and you're actually holding them and you're like, dang, this is heavy. So it's actually going to go down on the floor. But especially because it's end of semester and I've been gearing up for finals and having a lot of work pile up, I'm really proud of myself for carving out time for one of my favorite hobbies. I really hope you enjoyed this and maybe you have a few more books that you want to put on your TBR. And if you read any of these books, please let me know your opinions and thoughts on them, even if they're totally different from mine, because I think that's so important in reading is that everyone likes different things. And I would also love to hear if you have any suggestions for me to read next month based on the books I read this month. See you next time.
You are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females magic just touching me, trick me, trick me, trick me.